Nee, dat kun je niet doen. Je kunt
One,
je
two,
gaat er niet
three,
hier voor
everyone.
die 4 mannen lopen knippen.
So we are now on air.
Oh, we're on air. Oh, I'm being tortured. I'm being tortured by my girlfriend. She's trying to do my hair.
To do your hair. So guys, finally, you are 3 of you. I can see you 3 of you. I'm really happy on that.
Yeah, we too.
You too, man.
So how have you been since the self-isolation, or what are you doing right now? Did everything change in your life?
Well, I can start if you want. Actually, for me, I'm most of the time at home with my kids, trying to keep life as easy as possible, which is sometimes difficult because you know as well. I have a daughter, I have a son and a daughter, so it's like working with my kids, working. Sometimes a bit of making music in the evening when there's still some energy left. But actually, I'm good. The only thing I miss is that we just built a studio, a brand new studio, and we haven't made music in it yet, so it's really painful.
I'm in it right now.
Stijn is the only one who is in it.
Oh, sorry?
Stijn is the only one who is in the studio.
Yeah, he lives in the studio, in his new studio.
Yeah, he lives in the studio. He also sleeps in the studio.
Yeah. Okay. So Lawrence, what about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So basically, since day one, I've been working from home. So actually, that works out pretty okay. It's nicer to be in the office, but I can work from home. Of course, more time at home, and I can play more with my modular at home. So that's a positive side. But no, I'm doing good. So yeah.
And what about Stijn?
It's well, the funny thing is I was working from home for a little while, and then COVID came, and then I got the new studio. So I'm in a new studio every day now. So for me, it feels like finally going out. But yeah, I'm hanging in there. It's a strange time, but at the same time, the world keeps on turning, I think. And well.
And what?
Oh yeah, one important thing that Sophie just added, which is very important. I miss the guys, though. I miss the guys, not seeing them.
Yeah, me too. I miss you too, Stijn.
I miss you guys. I miss you so much. I see you only once a year, and it's a good tradition. And this
not happening this year, Alexey. Not happening this year.
I know. Unfortunately, yeah,
but then we do like a double celebration next year.
Yeah. I think it will be triple, something like this.
No, but the good news is we try to stay at home and make music. So we're still working on a new album. So there is still music going on. And yesterday we also tried a new way of doing things. So we came up with a melody. I sent it to Lawrence. So at home he just made some cool synths with it, sent it back. So we're trying to make it work still. But it's not that fun, of course. It's way more fun.
It's not that. I think when it will be time when you can meet each other, it will be much more good results on making your new album. Anyway, it's my this question will be in the end. The question about your album and stuff. I didn't realize because when I was making this happen, and speak with all of you, I just don't know where the name Envotion come from.
We don't either.
Shall we tell them the real story, Stijn, or shall we keep that to ourselves?
I think it's time for the real story.
It's intricate kitchen. It's kitchen talking, so you can tell everything you want.
Oh, I can start with the not so sexy story. So we had to come up with a name, and that was like many years ago, of course. And we didn't know about a name, so then we went to the internet and came across a random word generator. And you could say like, what kind of sounds do you want to be in the word? And we're like, on or something, or
Theon.
a theon or something like that. And then it came up with Envotion. And we're that sounds pretty cool, actually. And then afterwards, Stein made up the whole story about emotion, devotion, and emotion.
Yeah.
But actually,
Yeah.
that was in India. So I was in the bus in India, in Mumbai.
Yeah.
I can still remember what I saw when I thought about it, because I was working at the time, or staying in India, in Mumbai, for a while. And we were traveling a lot by bus from north to south Mumbai, which is really busy. And then at a certain moment, there was the "This is life, you're voted, emotion, devotion, motion." Yeah, I think at least "This is life, you're."
Yeah. This is life, you're voted. Yeah.
And actually, I was at that time studying at home when you were in the studio doing the random word generator. So you called me and was like, "Hey, what do you think of the name Envotion?"
Weren't we there with the three of us?
No, I wasn't there. I was studying at home. Yeah, I had some exams. I'm not sure, but yeah. So you called me up, and then what do you think? Yeah, no, okay, sounds good. You know, it's like a new word with no relation to anything else. So that's what I saw.
So it was cool. I remember when we typed it in Google at the time, it said 0 hits, and it said
results,
like, "Did you mean?" And then another word came. So that was pretty cool. So we could shape the word. That was like also the intention of coming up with a non-existing word, so we could give it a meaning through the music. That was
probably one of the few times that you typed something in Google that he said like, "There's no result to this." I think by now it's really difficult to get across, typing something like that.
Yeah, Martin van Dam is saying hi to you in YouTube.
Hey, Martijn.
Martijn, sorry.
Martijn van Dam, jazeker.
Yeah, he's a great designer. He's doing the artworks for Skytop covers. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He did our album too. And
I know.
A lot of good years together, and he makes great music. And
yeah. By the way, his new release will be out soon on Skytop. I think in the beginning of June. Very nice EP with his friend Frank.
But actually, the Martijn van Dam thing is a nice story too, because in Holland you have this news site, which is very progressive, and it's like it's really something you want to be part of. It's in my opinion, it's very high level journalism, and the journalists of the people that work there, they have this. And the people that work there, they have this drawn avatar of themselves. And at a certain point, somebody said, "That's great music," and I saw this avatar, so I thought, "Fuck! Somebody at the correspondent is liking her music. That's fucking awesome!" I was like, "You!" And that was Martijn. So that was the start of him making an album cover and stuff like that, and now also
his artwork on your album was awesome, really awesome. And the thing is, the next now we know what Envotion is, and three of you. And funny thing with the name, while Hugo started searching it in internet, we did the same with Intricate Records when we started the label. There was no anything in internet with Intricate, but it's not your main job. The question is, why you are doing this like a hobby? Because the music which you're making is very high quality level, but it don't gives you enough money, or it's just your passion, or because I know three of you have normal regular jobs or businesses. You can tell people what is your business, what is your stuff, and why did you decide to make music music stay as a hobby?
Yeah, who wants to start?
Yeah, we just since we're so good if we start professionally, we will be so rich that we'll be filthy rich, and we don't want to be filthy rich. We just want to be normal guys. I think, isn't that true?
Yeah, I think so. That's pretty much it. No, I think for me at least, I'm not sure if it would make us really happy if we would be involved for the reason of money, because I think also a lot of pressure comes with it, and what I like now about it is that we can do it pure for the love of it, and there is nothing attached. We make the music that we want to make. This is what we love doing, and there is not much to it. And I made music professionally for a while, and what I disliked about it, that there was this huge pressure for me to just make money and think from a commercial point of view. And I think what I like now is that there is a certain lightness to the music. It's pure fun, and we do it because we love it. And second of all, honestly, I'm not sure if we would make enough money to provide enough for at least for my family and for the people, for three of us. I'm not sure if that's possible. I think most people that we know that make it professionally also have a lot of jobs on the side. They make commercials and they do stuff like that, and so that's also a thing.
We have to ask the guys from Anjuna Beats if they make enough money.
I think they do. I think they do. Anyway, while everyone is sitting at home, I think they do, because they have. Yeah, it's a big company. It's a big label. It's.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was a joke, but
I know it was a joke because of one of the because you made a very, very super special remix on micro cassettes. Yeah, that was the biggest track on one of the biggest remixes on for you especially, and on All Days of Anjuna Beats or Deep. It was on Deep. Yeah. So so you're trying to keep music as it's like your passion, not to make it like a business. Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah, kind of same as for me. Kind of to have the freedom to do what you want in music and not being tied to making money or something like that. And also, like if that would be my day job, then I would need some other hobby to kind of shut down my work. You know what I mean? Yeah. So kind of you shift. So now I have, if I want to relax, I can go to my music and I do my work, which I also love, like my day job I also love. But now it's like this thing where I can kind of recharge myself.
Yeah. So before all this shit happens, how often did you meet each other to make music?
Twice.
At least 2 times a week. So at Tuesday evening and on Saturday evening, and we also made music at home. So during the week, at least when possible, I try to sit down and just come up with some ideas. So that's how we've been doing it for like 15 years or something, or even more. So that has always been like the metrum, you could say.
And how old is Envotion now? How old are you guys?
Stein, you know that.
Yeah, I have to look it up in my agenda. I think 14 years or 15 years.
Something like
15.
that.
It's crazy. 15. Or maybe 16. 16.
2004. We are there since 2004.
You guys are very old.
Yep.
So,
but we're still together. It's like a good marriage.
Yeah, it's still good news that and good stuff that you're still together and making music. And it for me, for example, I remember that year when it was 10 years anniversary of Envotion. It was 2014. It was the only, I think, one time when 3 of you came to Russia and had great parties, even in Nizhny Novgorod in Vasa +1. That's I think the night to remember for 3 of you.
It was legend.
Yeah. Seriously, that was one of the best experiences in my life. When my life is over and when I will look back, I'm sure it will, in my top 10. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, because it was kind of, it it was really, really hard to make this all happen because, but on that time it was good that Vasa Plus One was the club where I could put you, and now it's no Vasa Plus One, but we have amazing memories about that. By the way, I know that from that time most of the front man, I mean the guy who is DJing, is Stein. So Stein, question to you: what is your? Can you remember your greatest party? I think there was a lot of great parties.
For DJ wise,
Yeah, while you were traveling.
I think Envotion wise, it was the Nizhny Novgorod.
Yeah.
Vasa Plus One. But the best crowd was at your celebration of 10 years Skytop. 10 years Asphalt.
Yeah, my previous radio show. So.
Yeah, that was absolutely. I sometimes when I'm a little bit like empty energy, and I sometimes run on that mix, and then every time, like by the end of the running, it's like fucking. What did we do that night?
You rocked on that night. And also, we have a comment on YouTube that the guy from Nizhny Novgorod is still waiting for you there. I hope.
Oh well, I hope to be there soon. When I told you, Alexey, when Corona enables us to fly.
Yeah, we will do our best to party as hard as we can.
Yeah.
Even in Maastricht, my friend. So you need to get a proper bar, and we need to make 2 nighs. To make really good parties.
5 nights.
So Asphalt Radio, because I can remember there was so many great parties, even in Perm. You told you saw the video when you were in Perm after the festival in Stein. Did he show you the video on the after party? No.
No. He didn't show that one. No.
With Grum.
With Grum wearing women's shoes.
Yeah.
No, he definitely did not show that. But I can see why.
I didn't show you. I will send it over. Yeah. We're at all not drunk, and we both of us almost missed our airplane. And on the way back, and I even, because Grum didn't want to catch the plane, so he told me, "Let me just sleep. I'm not going to the airport. I'm too drunk. I cannot fly."
Yeah.
So I said, you really have to fly. You have to take the plane. And but he said no. And then at the airport, I walked in, and he was there. He was also at the airport. But so I saw him, and he said, "Yeah, we're going to take the plane." And so I wanted to grab my passport, and I was like, "Ooh, shit, my passport."
Lost it, you forgot it in the hotel. I know the story.
Still in the hotel. So somebody from the hotel came like 2 seconds after I realized and brought me my passport. So yeah.
Yeah. As
memorable
I know,
weekend.
Grum is Scottish guys, so they are really strong on drinking everything, and they can be like
I noticed.
next day.
I noticed.
That was the same stuff when I booked him to Murmansk. It was minus 39 outside, and yeah, we have to drink a lot. But next day he was like, I'm ready to fly. Thanks for the party. Yeah, Grum is Grum. So that's what I can say about the parties. So there were lots of parties, and I'm really happy to make it for you in future in Russia, because yeah, I know Russia loves Envotion, really loves. I can say about your tracks on Still Here, Streetwise, and well, you didn't make you did not make a re-edit of Verses of Poison, but that tune was also a big hit in Russia. And still, when I search in vk.com, I see lots of Envotion in different remixes there. People still posting it every day. So
well, our first remix for you, All Again.
Yeah, that was the
all
first
again.
one.
All again. it was the first step of meeting with you guys.
Yep.
I didn't
Yeah.
because I was thinking who can make a proper nice remix, and I think I sent an email or I just post something in Facebook or something like that.
I remember where we talked about making the remix or not. I know that we were in Gulpen at your parents' house
Yeah.
and making music there. And we used to go and get Chinese food. So then we would drive with the three of us to the Chinese, and we were sitting there, you know, Chinese restaurant, you see this fish tank, and you hear the music, you know, and I can remember that we were sitting there and discussing, like, shall we make this remix for this Alexey Sonar guy with this Intricate Records label? Would it be nice? And they were like, yeah, just they really release nice music, so it would be an honor to like release on this record label. And I can remember it.
Yeah, that was the first step. After that, I in autumn I flew to Amsterdam for Amsterdam dance events, and
Oh, yeah.
that was the year 2012 when we met. Yeah, 2012. So for me, it's a all again Envotion remix is a step, the first step when I met you guys personally, and I still remember that video when you sent it to me when the remix was nearly done. So three of you was sitting like cool, yeah. So for you, what is the biggest track which you ever made?
Depends on how you define it. I think we all have a personal favorite. I think my personal favorite song is The Last Wave, because I like the emotion very much in it. It's a certain kind of pain in that track, and it's not really easy to say what kind of style it is. It's kind of an own thing, I would say. It's not like really progressive or whatever. That would be my favorite track. I still love that track the most because I can still listen to it and enjoy the emotion of it, right? So because I think what most people don't think of is that we listen to our music a million times because you make it. So you listen to a song over and over and over again. You know it as well. You make music as well. So maybe you have listened to a song 1,000 times. So many songs I don't listen to them anymore because I've heard them so many times. But The Last Wave I can still listen to it. Yeah, I can still enjoy it. So, but that's my part. That's my favorite.
Which one can't you hear anymore, Hugo?
Sorry?
Which one can't you hear anymore? Is there one track?
That's a good question, actually.
I have to think for myself too. I don't know instantly.
The one you don't remember, I think that
All
one.
your stuff is awesome. All your stuff.
Yeah, probably. No, I don't know now. With this guy, it's not that I dislike any of her songs. I think we made them because we love them and we like it. And still, if you look at them now, I think many songs you would say like, oh, we could have done this better because you always get a bit better, learn new techniques. And there's also a problem with the album, of course, because we have like now, how many tracks do we have, Stein? Like 11 or something?
I think 11 with the intro, yeah.
Yeah,
And with Elke with it, it's 11. Yeah, definitely.
So it's definitely 11 tracks, but the first track was made a few years ago, like the beginning. So when you're making music, at a certain point, you learn new techniques and get new insights. So the older tracks, that you start to work on them again, and then the newer tracks, they stay for a while. So it's constantly you're trying to, but you have to stop at a certain point because otherwise you keep improving all the older songs. So now we're in the process of finishing it and saying, okay, these are the songs, and now let's try to make them all as good as possible, and then also stop and not just do too much because it will never stop. It's never good enough in a way.
Okay, so Lawrence, your favorite track?
My favorite track is as well The Last Wave. Yeah, it's the same reason. It's like the emotion in there, but I have to say, like the Michael Cassette remix we did is still a favorite of mine as well, and also the Way Out West remix we did is also I listened it a few months back in the car back home from somewhere, and when you didn't hear it for a long time, you have fresh ears again, so you can enjoy it more because, as Hugo said, when you're in the process and you have heard the song 1,000 times, you kind of get tired of the song. But when you just let it rest for some time, you can hear it again fresh. So those two remixes, but the favorite is still The Last Wave.
Okay. Stein, my friend.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Of course, yeah, I think, you know, I can also still remember when we were making The Last Wave that it really connected. It was really deep. It was really deep in your gut the way it came out. But I have to add Still Here.
Still here.
And also for another reason than for the music, but for the replies we get to Still Here. You know, we've really had some really cool messages coming through via Facebook of people having a rough time and you know, meeting the track and really pushing them through the period in time. And yeah, that's I think Still Here is still also this, and because of the re-edit of the film that Hugo made to it, because it's just like click, you know, it's like it's really one thing. That also really worked well at Streetwise with Streetwise, but yeah, Still Here really has a good video clip to it. And I'm still happy that it's still online because most of the video clips from that period they got taken offline, so they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, your remix on microcassettes is great, perfect. I can still play it. Streetwise, perfect. All Again remix, absolutely awesome. Amazing remix on Sanjali Stargaze, which is
I
which
was
is
forgetting that one.
which is super top. I can still play it as well. There was Still Here. Well, for me, Still Here is a little bit vocal track, but I prefer Latest News, which is, guys, you made Latest News, which is nearly disco, something like synthwave, retrowave stuff. Uh, so it was so a lot of great music from your side. In the summer is great as well. So,
I like that one.
so why did you decide to add this kind of 80th feeling to your music?
I think
Because
it was
because all of us were born in the 80th when it was that films with Terminator or something like that.
I think it has to do with it's not a conscious decision to do that. I think it's because we were born in that time and we had a lot of good memories about that time. I think for me it was the time when I discovered music. When I was 7, I got my first vinyl, so it was in '87. I was born in 1980. So for me, I think the music of the '80s always carries some kind of memory to that time when I was little and very good feelings. And I think we all have this association with it, and it just happened. I think it was never like a decision to start doing it. It just
There were
happened.
more things that triggered it also, I think, because I know that at the time when we started, we were very much inspired by the Scumfrog and his Kylie Minogue remixes and Infusion and these kind of things, and there were the snares. They were pretty big in his tracks. And I think that's one thing that triggered it, and it's like a multitude of things that triggered it in the end, probably.
But at the moment, would you like to keep that 80th feeling in Envotion new tracks, or do you want to come on the new melodic techno trends, which all the producers do now, in melodic house and techno, which is for me is progressive?
No, we're going to do more folklore, eh? So
Yeah,
German,
R&B would
Austrian,
be nice.
German influences.
Some Dutch rap, would be perfect.
Well,
some beatboxing too. Laurens is really good at that. Laurens, show them.
my camera and microphone are not working right now. So.
Guys, the YouTube question. Hey guys, what equipment, software do you use to produce your tracks?
The software we use.
And equipment.
Equipment.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lots of things. Actually, our DHW is Cubase, so we are on the latest version of Cubase. But I think that doesn't matter. It's just the way to do it. We use a lot of plugins. The favorite one that we use a lot on the new album is by Softube, the modular. We also have a hardware modular that's also used on many tracks. Lawrence is the king of the modular, as we call him. He's making the synths, and he knows how to do it. Stein and I are just ignorant fools. We don't know what he's doing. He's just patching cables. We're just adoring him and admiring him, because we have no clue what he's doing.
yeah, and telling him to make it sound.
He's on.
Make it sound like.
He's doing the main job. He's ordering the pizza.
Yep. He's also ordering the pizza. That's true. But yeah, we have a lot of hardware synths, but I think the process with us is I don't think you need a lot of fancy equipment to make good music. Most of all, for instance, I have nothing much at home. I have a few plugins. I use Spire just for some ideas. Serum, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. As a VC, I use a lot of samples, and then I just make like an idea, and then we go to the studio and we replace the soft synths often with hardware, because it's often it's easier to be creative with the knobs and make it physical.
Also, many times we change it to hardware, and then we find out like it's not better, and we just keep it soft synth. So it also happens.
That's the thing. Like with hardware, it's just a different workflow, and with a different workflow, you get different ideas, and you make different things, regardless of the discussion on what sounds better. It's kind of, you make different things because of the interface, and working with a mouse is different than turning knobs, and it will spark different ideas. I think with what helps with, for example, the Softube modular is that you can make your arrangement, and you can make adjustments to all the knobs during the process. So you can still tweak it and adjust it, the patch as is. And if I work on my hardware modular, you record it, and then that's it. You have your take, and you cannot change it afterwards. So it's a different workflow, and both has its pros and cons. So
yeah, cool. So we got Hi from Minnesota, from the United States. Alexey Sonar and Envotion tunes over the years. So that's a good comment. So one thing I want to ask you about. So you made, how many albums you made? You made one album, and now you are making a second one. Why? At the moment, I spoke with Prof, and in his interview, he told me that it's not an option in 2020 to make albums. It's better to make singles every single time. Just maybe because you're, for a producer who is DJing, it will be good to release music every time. But for you, what do you think about that? Is it better for you to make it a full album? Because at the moment, it will be a moment when you will be putting all your years of works online in one time.
It depends on how you define what is best. As we said in the beginning, at least I speak for myself, I think the reason was never to be like commercially successful or whatever. So it's more like the decisions that are made are always from a creative point of view. So what do we feel is the best creative solution? What do we feel would make our music come to life in the best way? So in the second album that we're creating now, it's a completely different story. It has not that 80s vibe to it anymore so much, and it's more darker. It's more, I wouldn't say a very gloomy or a dark album, but it's a more serious vibe. More, I would say there's more pain in the album, and we felt that if you release one track, you tell a bit of the story, but with all of these tracks together, the story is, I would say, is more complete. It's more whole in a way.
You want to make you want to tell a story.
Yeah, we want to tell a story, and I think with this new album, the story is completely different than the first album. But the story has one emotion in it, and what we did is that we created more tracks, of course, than that are on the album. But we skipped always through this tracks and felt like, is this exactly in that same emotion that we're trying to tell here or not? And sometimes the track was cool, but it wasn't that emotion, so we skipped it. We said it's not part of the album. So all the tracks in the album, in a way, they try to tell something, and this is basically how I would say.
But sorry, Laurens.
No, you
go. Well, I would also argue that, you know, we haven't had negotiations. I can imagine that there are possibilities in releasing an album as an album, but time-wise, releasing tracks one by one or something, you know, or just telling the story in a digital way, in a new digital way, but that it's still one story. So I don't know. Maybe a label will come up with a great idea to do so, and then we're open to that, I think. But it is an album. Yeah, that's I think. In the end, it is an album, but the way it's released, timestamp-wise, you could, yeah, maybe be creative about that. I have no clue about how you could do that, but I think that's in the hands of other people to decide and to advise us in.
So after that question about so when the album will be done, are you going? It will be like 2027 something.
We're really far.
Yeah.
No, we're seriously far.
2020 something, and what are you gonna do with the music which you were creating during the years? I'm going to make I'm going to find a label which will show the world, because you already released an album on one of the biggest labels, it's Armada, and or you're gonna make it on like I forgot the name, Bandcamp or something like that.
Bandcamp, okay.
Yeah. Just putting it online, saying, "Hey guys, here is our album. You can just listen it and send." Because minimum is I think $1 or it can be more, something like that. What are you going to do? How after that? What was the way while you want to share the music with the world, with others? I mean, you have fans, but but there are lots of people who don't know who are in motion.
I think if we learned one thing from the previous album release, is that we started midway to find a label for it, and also connected to that expectations of the label, etc. And I think for this moment, for sure, we just want to finish the creative work and not have the two processes at the same time running. And then probably we'll just send it over to some people. And then if nobody likes it, we'll throw it onto Bandcamp and say, here. And that's okay.
Yeah. So you're not
and if
worried.
someone likes it, then, you know, that's happening.
Yeah. So you're not worrying about the place where it will be released, yeah? So because it's...
First, we have to make the album. First, we have to get the creative work done. And it has to be just, finished. And it doesn't need to, like, be two lines at the same time. Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. For me, the only thing that counts is I just want to reach the most people possible. You know, if that's possible, because we're not in it for the money. I'm in it for the music, and what I think every artist wants is for his or her music to be heard by many people as much as possible, of course. So that would be my priority, and
yeah,
that
but
would be.
But I think also a good way will be. Again, I forgot one of the biggest projects. I won't tell about who they are, but when they made an album, they made a like special campaign, and they got about $100,000 and a big label bought their album. So maybe it's a good way to go on that way, because it will be like people people want to hear your music and to see you on events, etc. So I think it can be a good way as well. But label is label. Label. There are so many different labels and so many. It can be a big label, but it can be a personal problem with a manager who didn't listen or didn't feel the passion of the music which you were creative during the years.
I think for us that's also really important. See, we met you years ago, and you are somebody who we want to work with, we want to like be around with. That's why we choose to be with you and do stuff with you. That's why we choose also to release with you. The same goes for Ono at Armada, where we released the last album. We chose not for Armada. It sounds really cool, Armada, but we chose for Ono.
Yeah.
That's the guy we chose for. The label was really like, was sub for us, I think, if I'm right. Huh? And also like it's an old guy in the scene, but he's actually back, and he has a new label again, Peter van Hal, who did Extrema music, and he released like gems of house music classics, and he's also back on track, you know. And that's also we released with this guy because it's just a good human being, and if his intentions are good with the music, then we can only do. The only thing we can do is work hard and hope for the best, because it's a lottery if people really pick it up. It is a lottery.
To a certain degree, and of course, this music has to speak for itself. You can have the best publisher and the best label. If the music is rubbish, it will not carry on. So I think what we try to focus on is make music that is as good as possible, you know. So for us, that's always the focus. And I strongly believe that quality prevails. It will always remain if something is good, you know. It's with look at classic tracks. Some tracks.
Listen, guys. In 2012, I met you, requesting for a remix, and with my passion, with don't invest in lots of money, but speaking with people, I made Envotion bigger for Russia than Envotion bigger than in Netherlands. That's my personal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, your tracks was on the biggest radios. Stein was traveling. He was traveling for maybe 10, 15 different cities.
Yeah.
He played on the festivals, in nightclubs, in small clubs. Some clubs were not so good. Some events were super cool.
Also great.
But yeah, that's the passion. If you like what you do, just do it. And I have a question from YouTube coming from Progressive Odyssey. Who are your favorite electronic music producers at the moment? And what type of music do you listen?
It's good to see Progressive Odyssey. Welcome to the show. I know him.
Yeah.
What inspires? I actually.
Do you have electronic favorite electronic artists at the moment?
Henry Space remains a favorite artist. I think throughout the years. Just a few weeks ago, he did a slow trance session on his YouTube channel, and it's just like every time this guy just reinvents and does different stuff, and it's always great. It's just like, and he has a lot of fun. He's just smiling behind his decks.
Who are you talking about, Sam? BT?
Henry Size.
Oh, Henry Size. Oh, okay.
Yeah. BT, of course.
BT.
Sasha still.
You still love Sasha? John Digweed now? I think John Digweed became
so.
it.
I've never really dig John Digweed.
Okay, cool. So,
Camel Fat is something I listen to. Sorry?
You like Camel Fat?
Yeah, I think what I like about their production skills are extraordinary. I really like the way their music sounds. I think they have a nice groove. It's very tightly produced. I like listening to it. Yeah, definitely.
And what do you think about Artbot?
I don't know it actually. Do you know it, Stein?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think
I like it.
at the moment they on the moment when that started, it's a duo from Ukraine, and I can say that I play nearly 70% of what they produce and release.
Wow. Well, I have to check it out.
I'm not putting all 70% of the tracks in one set.
No. It's a tribute set then.
I use their tracks in my sets.
Cool.
And the Tinlicker album was also very
definitely. Yeah, must not forget that one. Joris Voorn, also really good. There's so much good music, you know. There's just not one. We had tickets for
Adam Beyer.
Adam Beyer, yeah. I also love that guy.
So you love techno. You love techno. You love proper techno.
Yeah. I really love techno. Yeah.
Laurens is making some really cool techno stuff now. Really high quality techno stuff.
Yeah, so it's more like a side project. So more based on sound design and modular stuff. But so I also like Big and Dan in the techno world, and I also like a lot of ambient music and very relaxing. So when I listen mostly at home, it's more really ambient stuff and not so much of house or progressive music.
Yeah.
Midnight.
The Midnight.
Yeah.
The Midnight.
The Midnight.
You like the Midnight?
We want to remix the Midnight.
Yeah.
You want to
went
remix
to
the Midnight?
in Germany. That was really cool.
If you really want, I can make it happen.
I know. I know you can.
Because I didn't know that you're fans of the Midnight. The Prof made a remix on the Midnight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest remix of his remixes in 2019, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to remix Jason.
Yeah.
That track. It's one of my
Put the
favorite.
bar here, huh?
I know, but you have to challenge yourself, right?
Okay. So your new album, finally, after 48 minutes of our. So what are the plans for you? How many tracks will be in your new album?
11.
11. Yeah, and it will be darker than the first album. So, and you don't know when you will finish it.
Yeah, it also depends on the crisis. The problem is the tracks are ready, right? So what we have to do is we have to mix the tracks. We have to go to the studio, and we can only do this in the studio. It's really hard to do this alone because it's always like a collaborative effort. Everybody has input and he says, no, that sounds really different. So one person doing it alone is not working. So we have to have the big speakers, of course, to mix the album. So now it's just waiting for a moment that we can finalize it and just, make all the tracks sound. But the tracks are ready. They're there from the beginning till the end. They're all written. All the minutes are there.
Maybe any singles before the album. Maybe how many tracks do you have which are not finished?
I think all of them are finished, right?
Yeah, intro and
there are 11 tracks which are nearly done for the album, but before if we exclude these tracks from your collection, how many tracks do you have which is like sketches? 20, 100?
Well, sketches are not.
Sketches
is not like immense, and I think some more concrete. I don't know. What do we have? Like we have a folder on our computer, which we have an album folder, which the latest mix downs of the album tracks, and then we have a folder not for the album but still cool tracks.
So there's one track, by the way, Alexey. I think you will like it. It's really the old Envotion vibe, and it just happened a few weeks ago. So we built that. But I will send it to you after this call. You just check it out because I still feel like we have to do something with it because the vibe is just a bit like everything. It's a bit like.
Which one do you mean, Hugo?
Let me check. Yeah, we have all these silly names for our songs, so it's really hard because there's no link to the content of the song. The old way. That's the working title.
Yeah.
the old Envotion classic vibe which it has. Yeah, it's cool.
So
Yeah.
I think
Can
I think it will be like a good idea to make something like a video how you're making. You can take the track not from the album, but another track which is not ready, and to work for example, to show people online how you do the stuff. It will be very interesting. And later, of course, you can release it as a single, because anyway, personally, I love you guys, but the world need to get a little bit of emotion, maybe not to wait until your album will be done, but to see maybe 1-2 tracks a year, please.
Isn't that too much?
Maybe for Christmas, Alexey. Maybe for Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. Okay, well, that don't wait.
Alexey, I promise you, I will send you the link to the song. You can check it out. You can see what you think of it, right?
Yeah, but still not cool. All still cool are also like the indie tracks. Huh? Some indie tracks there.
We're gonna send you a folder, and then you can check it out. And maybe for us, it would be nice to have something to work on. And maybe
because you guys working only on an album, it's like a nightmare. You just focus on only 11 tracks, but it's time to switch off the lights and just sit
well, the good thing
something,
is,
on something new, on something like you didn't work for a while, and make it maybe a hit. Who knows?
But the good thing is that with the previous album we worked for really long, but the problem there was that we had all the tracks, and then we got a new studio. We started mixing, but the studio room was really terrible. It had really big problems, and yeah, you can hear it in the mixes now too. You can just hear it. So we lost a lot of work on that, and the new room is really good, so we don't have the problem. I hope.
Yeah.
Again.
No, probably not. But maybe I would suggest to do that. I think it's cool that we just. I think that's a nice idea, Alexey. Let's do like a challenge. Let's see if we can do like a Corona collaboration.
Yeah, Corona self-isolation remix, self-extended coronavirus COVID-19 edit, something like that. And,
we wish we were together remix.
Yeah, the thing is, now you have because music is not the main job. It's your hobby, your passion. It's you can switch off anytime and make something special during sitting like each one in his own studio, and then later make something together.
Yep. Yeah, sure. That's true. And it still works, I can still send. Thank God we have internet. I can send files to my brother or to Stein, and they can do stuff. They can send it back. It's not ideal, but it still works. We can still do something together. It's not that one person has to do everything. So it's possible.
So do you think it's a new reality? Well, we will be sending all these videos and Elka parties in Zoom in future in 2021, or do you think we're gonna? I think we need to meet and go out from our homes.
Yeah.
Hope so.
We'll go back to normal pretty soon.
Back to normal.
It will take a long time, but pretty soon still.
So, do you think Amsterdam Dance Event will happen this year?
Nope.
No.
Not happening.
No way that's gonna happen. No way.
Okay.
It's too international. That's too soon. But
nightclubs, bars.
No.
In Maastricht, are the bars closed?
Yep. They will open the 1st of June. Oh no, yeah, they are closed, but they will open. Restaurants will open, and from the 1st of June, but then for 30 people only.
Yeah.
And then they will see how it goes, and then they go to 100 people, and then take it from there. So I think in summer we'll be open. But then in autumn we'll have the same problem again. So yeah, let's wait for that. Let's see how we get there,
So Alexey, how is Russia?
It's hard to say because we hold on.
It's a goner. Entry cat to the rescue.
So guys, when I have to go to a shop, I have to wear this one.
Oh,
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, it's in Moscow. It's not very strict rules, but we're trying to go what the government says to us. As Russia is on the second place now for COVID, so I hope we'll get. I hope. Um, 200, nearly 300 tests, or 300 people which are in the hospitals with COVID virus or something like that. So yeah. Music industry facts. Restaurant facts. Everything goes down. I don't know, and we're not very we're not like China. Russians can't sit at home for 2 months or 1 month. No, it's like we're not like China.
yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. It's Groundhog Day, every day the same day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the question is, do you still learn? What sources of information do you use to upgrade your professional skills? That's the first question.
Well, honestly, I personally, I'm not don't know about the others. I don't like look at the internet for like courses on making music, but I do see myself on a continuous journey of learning. But I do it like through experimenting. So I try to make completely different music sometimes. So I can send you some music that I made. It's completely, yeah, like I even make like hardstyle music or sometimes whatever it is. So to get out of the box and learn new techniques, listen to songs. So I try to develop myself by experimenting a lot and learning through experience, but not through courses. But I'm not sure about the others. I'm not sure if you take like courses or anything.
No, not courses, but I think learning is what keeps it also fresh and interesting. You never get to a point where you say, okay, now I understand everything, now I mastered everything. So you will keep on learning forever, and that's the beauty of it. And for myself, it's more in the creativity and what you can do, doing things in a different way, or when you work with a modular, like new ways of creating sounds, or so it's more like a thought process, but also getting kind of, the happy accident. And that is also very interesting, because you can only kind of come up with so many things with your mind, but with the happy accidents, you think, hey, I never thought of that. You click together the wrong sounds, or you put in the wrong patch cable, whatever, but that kind of triggers you, and then you learn again. So yeah, definitely still learning.
So Alexey, you know how I sometimes create melodies or like arpeggiators.
Yeah.
I just get my hands on the keyboard and then just like press record and then just hit some random notes. Exactly. I quantize, and then suddenly some part is like interesting in a few notes, and I go on from there. Because if you start making music from a rational point of view, you start doing things you already know. But in that way, you can do something completely new. And I think learning happens when we go outside the boundaries of what we already know. So I think the good news is that you can do that yourself without any kind of knowledge. Just launch your program and start doing something you never did before and see where it takes you. And don't be so worried about whether it's good or not. Just play with it, just be playful and just experiment for the sake of experimenting. The funny thing is, one of the best ideas we got always emerged from playing. When my brother bought his first sampler, it was like an Akai sampler. I remember that, and we were just like putting sounds in it and a microphone in it and just pitch shifting it and making shit. But at a certain point, like really cool stuff came out of it. But it was never the intention. But it was just because of we were playing with it. So I think learning is also what makes it fun in a way, I would say.
Yeah,
You keep learning how to play.
Yeah.
And the last question from YouTube, and I think what is the problem of today's generation? They don't listen real quality dance electronic music. They have no sense of progressive house rather than normal commercials, something like that.
I think there is no generation, there is no now or future or past in good or bad music. It's just what comes across, and sometimes I think there's still so much good progressive music being made, and so many people listen to it. But there's also a lot of different music that people listen to. It's just like it's all over the board, and you can all see it, you know. And it's always
what is
you
good
end up
music?
your own.
Well,
Right,
yeah,
I think-
I mean, there is a choice for each one. For
Yeah.
us, progressive techno is quality music.
André Rieu.
For others, R&B is nice.
Yes, exactly. It's a funny thing, right? My son, he has this game on his Nintendo Switch, and it's called Dance something, right? So he has to dance to music. And there's one track by Skrillex, and he plays that track for the first time. It's like really stuff we don't make, right? And in the beginning, I was not really into that. But after like listening to it for like 600 times now, I really start to appreciate it for a strange reason. And the same happened with my girlfriend. She said, I start really liking this track. So I think a lot of things that we call bad music or that we don't like also is simply because we didn't expose ourselves enough to it to find that thing that makes it cool in a way. And I'm not saying that this is true for everything, but sometimes it is also a way of getting used to something and finding that thing in it. And I don't know, I don't believe in really bad music. I think if it moves somebody or if it resonates with somebody, it's valuable. So I don't think it's like shitty, even if it's technically not very advanced.
What I do relate to, and maybe that is part of the question that was asked, is that when we started listening to dance music and when I started going to clubs, me and my friends, we were going to clubs to because we wanted to fucking dance. We wanted. I can. For me, a club night is just going to this place, not having a
nice sound
notion of
system.
time, not knowing like what I'm going to do tomorrow. There's no time frame. You're just standing there. You start talking to your friends, and at a certain point, you have the feeling like, "Fuck, man, you should dance." And then you go to the center, and you just dance the night away. And for me, that's a club night. And I think you can feel the crowd just like getting like warmer and more tense, and then this DJ can like bring it to this climax, and that's the art of house music that can do this, opposed to not many other music types can result in this feeling. And what I do think is that house music has become really big. So there's many places where you can go to, and a lot of people just want to do it because they feel that other people also do it and they want to be there too, and they just try to experience it, but they haven't had like the proper maybe people around them to like show them just like be here and enjoy it. That's maybe something, and there's also music form coming from that is not maybe so conscious, but at the same time these people are dancing for the first time. Tomorrow they go to a different concert and they are like, whoa, and they're like doing exactly what you want them to do. So there's no opinion in that. There's no good or bad. There's no I think it's just
true.
No, I think so, yeah. And for me, I read such a cool quote. It was by a guy who is called, I believe, the Kite Man or something. That guy was like a very successful trumpetist. So was very well known here in the Netherlands, and so it became really big with that. And now he stopped doing that kind of stuff, and now he is into modular stuff. So he's only giving has a huge modular, and he gives like concert, and people are like, "What the hell?" He switched to completely different crowd, and people say like, "That is not music, man. It's not beautiful." And he says like, maybe music isn't always about being beautiful, but about getting in the way of resonating with it or being touched by the music in whatever way, even if it's a soundscape or a sound. If it does something to you, maybe that's more like the purpose of music rather than it's harmonically perfect or whatever you want to call it. And that got me thinking, like, yeah, why should it be like this typical idea that we have with classical music? It's so it's so perfect, and it's music theory, whatever you want to call it. It's maybe that's not the whole point of music. Maybe the point of music is just personal, that it makes you tick in a way,
Well, and maybe even more, it's not the band, it's the sound.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
the image of the band, it's not the commercial side of it, but it's just the freaking thing that comes out of the speaker.
Yeah, but that's in the end, that's what it is, right? It is everything is sound. And this is what I like about making digital music, because the sound source, and this is why I like the modular also, determines so much of the emotion. You can play a melody with a sound and it doesn't do anything, and then you take a completely different sound and it starts like, whoa, the melody comes to life. And this is what I find the most striking about sound design. The sound is so important. If it works together with a melody, then magic happens. And this is, I think, what makes it so interesting. I think to find always that perfect combination of a melody and the sound that works with it. I would say.
Hugo, you can drop the mic. That's a word.
Thanks.
So guys, I was super happy to see you, and I'm really looking forward to see you in, don't know, nearest or whatever future. But I think we will, of course, since all this, when it will be done and finished finally, I really want to come to Maastricht as well, to the place where Intricate Kitchen was born, where that idea of speaking about the music and having fun and talking was born. That's why it's called, all these interviews are called Intricate Kitchen, because we can talk about anything we want, anything we do, and share with the people, just for the history, just leave it for the history. And I wish you guys strong health, stay safe, and health to your families, friends, and make music with your passion while you're doing it for many years, for 16 years, and continue. And I hope to hear much of new stuff from you in the nearest future.
What's your inbox, Alex? I'm going to send you some stuff.
Alexey Sonar at gmail.com. It's very easy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for seeing us.
Thank you for the nice talk. I see you have awesome weather, and let's talk soon. Thank you. Yeah, I will share. I think tomorrow. Yeah, I will share this interview tomorrow. This is my
cool.
By the way, this is my first international interview. I didn't do any interviews since 2008. Yeah.
Wow.
You did great, Alexey.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Good fun.
Have a nice evening.
Yes.
So see you soon. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.